The Mastering Local Marketing podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing. Here's your host, Matt Hansen.
This is the Mastering Local Marketing podcast. He is Matt Hansen. He's a clinical professor at P&W. I'm Jim Deedlow, Jed. I own Jed TV, and I own a couple of radio stations. We're going to get right into it, and that's what people want to do.
Sure.
You know, right here, obviously, we sell a ton of ads. You're a buyer of ads most of the time, but you also counsel some other folks, including us. This is, today we're going to talk about why 99% of advertisements stink. Oh. Now, I know this because I took his two of his digital marketing classes on my way to an MBA, and I remember you sitting there one time just going, you know, look at this ad, like getting all like upset, like you had a bad call in baseball, and it's basically you can't stand bad ads.
I can't. Bad ads. Let me pull it back, right? So there are ads that are out there, and they're fine. But you got to realize that when I say a bad ad, it's somebody just threw something up. There's no thought behind it. There's no, no strategy. They put a picture up there. They put some kind of headline. It's a direct sell. Nobody really cares. And they don't think about the platform that it's on, right? So if we're looking at it from the standpoint of it's on social media, it's on Google, right? So paid search or any of those types of things, or even if it's in more traditional methods, whether it's a magazine or a newspaper or radio, whatever, think about where that ad is being placed. Think about the reason that you're putting that ad out there. And today we're really going to cover 5 different ads that you need to have in your back pocket, ready to go at all times, because these are the only 5 ads that you need to run.
Let's remind everybody about the funnel. It's the Matt Hansen funnel. One day he's going to trademark it. Until then, what?
I wish.
Yeah. Until then, I use it in. We sell a lot of ads. We got like 100 companies in one way or another associated with us, and I find myself repeating the funnel, and it makes so much sense. It's actually, it makes a lot of sense to people. So the funnel is what?
Well, again, we've talked about it many times, is awareness at the top of the funnel, and really kind of people understanding, who you are, what you offer, even in your own little farm, your own little local area, trying to understand if people really know who you are, right? So we've talked about this in the past podcast, that roughly the big brands have 92 to 93% awareness. Local companies have 10 to 30%. And, we did the experiment a while back. I don't know if you remember, but about the pizza place right around the corner that our lovely producer didn't even know was there. And that's what we're talking about, right? Like, so we're right off a campus, a pizza restaurant they don't even know where it's at, right? So when we're looking at awareness in the funnel, right? So we go awareness, we go consideration, next one down, and then obviously a customer. But if we're at 10 to 30% in awareness, what we really need to understand is we have to have a consistent ad that is out there, right? So it's not, let me run an ad for 7 days and see what happens. That doesn't work, right? So what I would say is take a certain budget and think about the platform that you're going to be on, right? So if you're on social, for example, any of the social platforms that are out there, we are not looking to click on ads as we're going through our social feeds. We're scrolling and we're scrolling and we're scrolling, and really what we need to do is we need to stop people at that point, right? We're a passive audience. We're not looking to click on anything. So it has to be something that stops you in your tracks, right? If you're putting an ad out there on Google paid search, odds are most of the time people are actively searching for that. So they have a problem that has developed. But think about it from an awareness standpoint. If I were to take $100 every single month And I did that for 12 months, so a full year. And I put my ad out there. Long story short, you're going to get 240,000 impressions, roughly around that, over the entire year. Now, if you live in a town, and I know a lot of small businesses across the United States and even in other countries that are listening, will have different towns that have 5,000 people, 10,000 people in it, right? So if you put out there an awareness ad and it's 240,000 impressions over a year, and your town is 10,000 people at best, what do you think is going to happen, right? So that awareness factor is going to go drastically up, and people are going to notice you. So what I'm saying is your first ad that you need to have out there and consistently running is some kind of awareness ad that gets people to stop, plays into the platform that you're playing on, right? So if you're on social, it's got to be something that's going to stop you, right? And I was kind of laughing. I sent you the artwork last night that we're going to put on the podcast cover.
Very good.
And that is an ad that I've done in the past. So if you're listening, check out the podcast cover today. But that stopped people in their tracks because it was shocking enough. They went, "What is this?"
It stopped me,
right?
And I didn't see it. I typically scroll ESPN while I'm eating breakfast, and I'm like, "What is this?" It's done professionally by AI, right?
No,
I'm kidding.
No.
So you are talking about an awareness factor, and there are people listening in the 5 to 10,000 town, or they're part of a larger metro, but they really concentrate on that town. They can localize the geography, and they can get those people hit over and over and over. So what happens with their 10 to 30% awareness factor then?
Well, I mean, it's never going to be 93, right? Because those are huge budgets and whatever. But I mean, if you could take your awareness from 10 to 30 or 30 to 50 in your town, that's a significant jump, right? So, not everybody lives in a 5 to 10,000, populated town, but around here, if we say 10,000, that's a real small proportion of where we live. But when you say 240,000, even if your ad is only shown one time to 240,000 people, that's a lot of people, right? So could you convert, could you get, roughly 5,000 people to come over from that to your website or to wherever you want them to go? I'm sure you can.
So you're talking about running that all the time, and I'm glad that you bring that up because, that's what we do with radio. Radio is an awareness medium,
right?
Because you don't have the click, and it's very hard. And they tell you they have better measuring Arbitron kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. They don't. Right. We haven't bought it in 101 years. So what you're really gauging the performance there is not necessarily by saying, this many listeners. You're gauging by the results that they get, and that's tough.
Right.
But it also has worked for us 101 years. The awareness is where we live. Now, certainly there is considerations and closes and that kind of stuff that are part of it. But that is the part that people are a little bit, I think, sometimes afraid of. Oh, well, if I spend this money, I want so much money back. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, but you're not going to get there until you have some awareness.
Right. Well, when people say that, and I'm saying this in the nicest way possible, if you have 10% awareness and you're saying, well, every dollar I spend, I want somebody to buy something from me. It's kind of like walking into a bar in your 20s and yelling out to everyone in that bar saying, I want to marry somebody tomorrow. I mean, it's just, people look at you like you're strange, right? So you've got to realize they are not ready yet. You're finding them, on social, many times you're finding them and you're just trying to get them to follow you and understand who you are. There are ads that will convert, but you got to realize people need to know who you are and what you stand for before they'll actually purchase from you. So we were sitting last night, and I like to bring up stories of sitting at home with my family and whatever. And my daughter, she's a junior, so she's getting all of these things from different universities. And every day I walk in and I hand her all the mail of wherever it's come from, and they're coming from all over the United States. And we got this one yesterday, and this is the perfect example of what an ad should be. And all it reads, and I know those of you listening at home can't see it, but it says, "Are you ready to be challenged?" And it's literally a puzzle on the front of it, and it it gives you a website to go to. It has nothing, it doesn't tell you what it is, where you're going, none of that stuff. So we knew it was university related, but we couldn't understand where it was coming from. So my daughter's doing homework last night, and I asked her, who is this? It's a postcard. I go, who's the postcard from? And she goes, I don't know, but let's figure it out. So we both jump on the website, and we come to it, and there's the puzzle, and that's the only thing on the website. And we're just like, okay, right? So I look at it, and we're both like looking at the puzzle, and I go, all right, I've got it. And she goes, how do you have this already? I'm like, I've got it. So I write my answer down, and she takes a few more minutes, and she gets the right answer. So then it goes over, as soon as you hit submit, it tells you you're right, and then it goes into a video of the university and all this other stuff. It was really kind of a fun, interactive way to get her, because, she's doing homework, she's already thinking, but then she took the time to jump over to this. And I'll be honest, this is the most creative ad that I've seen from a university to date, right? We get the stickers and all those types of things, but this one was very impressive. And I'm not going to give the university because they're not paying us for that. But
and we are on the campus of a different university, right. So everything you always needed to know is black and gold around here. What's a pain point?
Oh, you've got to poke the pain points, right? So we don't buy things just because we go, oh, that's wonderful, I'm going to go buy 3 new cars today. We don't do that, right? So there are a variety of pain points that you go through, whether they're basic needs. I'm hungry, to wants, I would like a better car, to demands where I've just got a massive raise at work, and now I can afford something bigger, right? I'm buying a bigger house or something like that. But when it comes to pain points, those are the things that stop people in their tracks. So, I wrote down some examples here. If you're selling insurance, I'll be honest, when my kids turned 16, that was a pain point instantly, right? And it's just, you could have a headline that just says, happy 16th birthday with a question mark after it, because really, is it happy? Because now your insurance has gone up and everything else, right? I was mowing the yard yesterday, and I thought, if you know anything about men, right, in a neighborhood, everyone looks at your yard and all this. And I always joke, I'm just like, I don't care, right? I just don't care. I'm not comparing myself to my neighbor's yard and all those types of things. But it's a good ad, right? If you say, how are you being compared to your neighbors and those types of things? Are you man enough, right? Like, you could play off of all kinds of different things there as well. For example, I was giving a lecture down in West Lafayette about a week ago, and we were going around and we were talking about awareness and consideration, all this other stuff. And I asked the general public, how many of you have an Apple phone? And all these hands went up. And I go, how many of you have a Samsung phone? And one lonely hand starts to go up. And, there's definitely a way you can play into the pain point there, right? Like, do you feel like you're on an island? They just don't understand you, right? Those types of things. You could take it to Samsung, or you could flip it on the other side to Apple and say, are you tired of being the only one in the room, right? So there's these pain points that you can take both ways. And really, that's what we're talking about, is every single day you go through some kind of pain point, whether it's really small or it's a major pain point. And if you could build that into the ads, it stops people in their tracks, right? So again, go back to the podcast cover from today, and you'll see there's a pain point there talking about, did you miss your summer goals and weight loss and all those types of things. So, but that's what I mean by a pain point.
One of my favorites is Xfinity, and I know you want to talk about them.
Yes. Well, funny enough, and I had Xfinity for years. And many times I would spend a lot of time on hold, right? So are you catching up on your music while you're on hold? Those types of things that you could play into it if you're on the other side, right? So I just had an event where I was sitting down with one of the marketers from AT&T, and we were talking about different things and how people, when it comes to internet and when it comes to phone service and all these different things, all the pain points that we go through, right? So if your internet goes down in your house, what's the first thing that happens? Well, it happened to us last night for a few minutes, and immediately from upstairs comes, what's wrong with the internet, right? I mean, that's a perfect perfect headline for an ad, because we've all heard that before. It's the kids, it's your spouse. I mean, somebody notices as soon as it goes out. I don't know how they do it, but as soon as it goes out, they notice. So that is a pain point that you don't want to deal with.
So I love the thing. Think of all the things you could get done while on hold with Comcast or Xfinity.
Or any of them, right?
So we're talking about, most ads are bad. 99% of advertisements aren't necessarily bad, but they're maybe just not as powerful as they could be. But one of the mainstays is just flat out having a crazy sale.
Right. Yeah, so, we've gone through, again, awareness, some kind of awareness, making sure that you have a pain point ad out there that's kind of looking at the things that your customers are dealing with. But we've mentioned sales in the past, and we don't want to train people for the sale, but we do want to put sales out there that make sense. So one of the big things that are going on right now are flash sales, right? So you have X number of inventory, and once it's gone. People come up there and they'll post a hat or a shirt or something, and once it's a limited edition, we only have 100 of these. Once it's gone, it's gone. You see a lot of this on social, and a lot of people are selling a lot of product. You see, it's almost like we've done we've also kind of gone back to the home shopping network, but in social. And it's really kind of interesting to watch, because people are going live and saying, oh, we have, 100 of these things, and they're going quickly, order now, and all that. But on the same sense, I'm seeing companies that are posting product that they have one of on their shelves. And they'll post that, and then they'll boost that post, or they'll create an ad for that post separately through Ads Manager or whatever. And what happens is you get this mad rush of people to the store to get that one thing. My wife is famous for this. She'll send me a text and say, hey, this company just posted this. Can you stop by on the way home from work today and see if it's still there, right? Okay. I stopped there. It's not. It's gone, right? She's got another place that she looks at in Naples, Florida, that they post limited one-off items, and they go through and they do this whole kind of meta show with it, and they boost all these posts and everything. And they're one-offs, and they're sale items, but they're one-offs. So they have this mad influx of phone numbers of people calling in trying to get this one product. So it really just... It's less of an ad, but it's more of an ad, because you can get creative with it. You could do a static ad where it's like you're promoting a sale, but on the same sense, you can also do it at a post that's like an ad that is, video content or live even. But those things are pushing tons and tons of product right now.
My brother-in-law owns 313 Tap Room over here in Munster, and they do these funny videos of dancing, or he and his buddy started the bar, and then now they got a good following, and people are looking for the play off back and forth. But really, it's like, hey, we're going to have Mario on Saturday playing acoustic guitar, and somehow that gets worked in. Right. And I think they've done a really good job of social media posts with the advertisement kind of coming from the side. I used to own a newspaper here, the Calumet Press, and when we bought it, the old sales manager said, you really got to do holidays, and you got to sell into certain events. And we did it for a while, and it generated some revenue. But over time, I felt like it was just like hitting, and then those people, wouldn't advertise. They were just coming around for that. And I thought it was kind of teaching the client that, they're going to lower the prices on daffodils when going into Mother's Day. And then if you buy them at another time, you're getting, it's not a good deal. So when you look at those Easter, Christmas, Halloween, July 4th stuff, what do you look for?
There's two ways to look at this, right? So you have the main holidays that you're talking about. We just came out of Easter, and we look at everything that was going online, or let's say you're posting something on Instagram, and they have the ability to you can put music on your post and those things. If you look at that, the top 20, 30 different songs that were up there were all Easter related. So everyone's doing it. So you have to be unique about it, right? So what is it? What kind of ads are you putting out there? What is the message? You're talking about sales. I'm saying it doesn't have to be about sales, right? So it could just be a celebration of whatever's going on. We've talked about events in the past, right? So we used to have that Mother's Day event, and you could put that out there. But, realize that just a holiday doesn't need to be the only time you do that, right? So I know you've mentioned your HVAC buddy a couple times, right? First day of spring should be a holiday for him. It's the fact that AC season is coming up, right? We're finally into the 70s here, right in Northwest Indiana. But, before we know it, it's going to be 98 degrees and humid as can be outside, right? So could you do some kind of ad first day of spring, first day of summer, those types of things that is leading up to that? So 7 days out, summer's coming, and have some fun with it. It's a reminder of what you do, but you're celebrating something that's coming up.
So ultimately, the event, and this is one that we have too many things going on, but you do talk about the events also. And if you're having an event, how do you parlay that into increasing the awareness about your business?
Right. So, if you're celebrating some kind of holiday or something like that, I mean, people relate to holidays. My wife's favorite holiday is Christmas. I mean, if she could have Christmas every single day, she would do it. So people, when they see something that relates to something that's near and dear to their heart, whether it's pulling on family history or whatever it may be, they stop and notice. So again, advertising is all about generating awareness in the long set, but if it's something that's relatable, people have a tendency to stop and look at it, right? So it's probably why you see some of these Christmas in July kind of things, and it makes you kind of stop and go, what? It doesn't make sense. Or, you get the idea.
He's Matt Hansen. I'm Jim Delo. He's a clinical professor. I'm just an owner of radio and TV. And just to kind of sum up, I don't know, Professor Hansen was very kind of just middle of the road about it, but if you get him out in a classroom or in a social center setting and get him to talk about bad ads or ads that could be way better, let's not call them bad, he's very passionate about it, and hopefully you're feeling that here, because the awareness part of the funnel and a local business, 10 to 30%, can you advertise in a way that pushes that up? Maybe you go from 10 to 30 or 30 to 50 in your area. We're sitting in the Strack and Van Til studios here. What do you think their awareness is around here?
I mean, it's got to be, I would say, probably in the 50% range.
I would say even higher, because they have, I think, 21 stores, and they're in a lot of different municipalities, and I would think it would be a little bit higher. But
the reason I say that is because they've had, through the years, it's been just Van Til, it's been just Strax. I mean, I hear a lot of people refer to it as just Strax. So when you say Strack and Van Til, that's why I say 50%.
Yeah, all right, yeah, just the proper name of it. But, they're the naming of the studio, and that's part of their awareness of the funnel. So you got to think of that in terms of the awareness, and then you got to think of it in terms of the effectiveness of your ad. And if you're just joining this, if you happen to catch it on radio or TV, you can always find us on iHeart, Apple, Spotify, and all those places. Anything else on this one?
No, just make sure that you have ads in your back pocket that are ready to go. So things happen quickly. And what I would say is design kind of the 5 ads, right? Awareness, pain point, sales, seasonal, and then events. And just make sure that you have them ready to go, that you can tweak them quickly and get them up. Because if you're running those 5 ads, you'll be fine. I mean, honestly, this is what we talk about all the time when we talk to clients.
Starting from scratch when you want to put together an Easter ad and it's already March is not where you want to be.
No.
All right, guys, this is the Mastering Local Marketing Podcast. Until next time, see you later.
The Mastering Local Marketing Podcast helps local small business owners like you understand what it takes to successfully market your business and drive new customers through your doors. We provide actionable insights, interview leading experts and business owners in various industries, as well as provide tips and tricks we've uncovered over the last 25 years in the field. Whether you're starting your business or you've been at it for decades, let us provide you with the education and resources you need to grow your customer base. It's time to start mastering your local marketing.